Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, please take a moment to subscribe so you can be alerted to future videos. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the best references for authors, or at least the things that I find useful when I'm writing. So first up is perhaps the most obvious, the internet. You can find so much information out there on the web, it's ridiculous. So for example, when I was writing There's Something About Lady Mary, I really wanted my heroine to be more educated than what's commonly known for them to have been at the time. She's a surgeon in this story, and most information you will find online will say that surgeons and physicians were not aware of hand washing or the importance of hand washing until the mid-19th century. But that's simply not true. And as it turns out, my perseverance, my insistence on finding something contrary to this paid off. I eventually discovered a book in Google Books, actually, by a physician named William Buchan, and he was a physician in the mid to late 1700s, and he writes in this book, I actually have a copy of the book here. The name of it is Domestic Medicine, and I bought it because I just loved using this book so much online, and I figured it would be easier to actually have the actual book in my hands so I could look up stuff more easily. But in this book, he clearly states that hand washing was necessary, and so, it's just one of those many things that I would never have discovered if I didn't do a lot of online searches. Next up is other books. It's so great to use other books as reference material. Like, I have a whole bunch of books here, for example, that I have purchased over the years. So, for example, you already know about domestic medicine. I mentioned it already, but here's another interesting one. It's called Back in the Day. And in here, you can find out all kinds of interesting stuff. And it's really especially good for me because I write historical romance. So it's good to have a few references for things that, people tended to do in the past, or how they used to live, or how they used to make things. So here, for example, you can find out how to make butter, or you can find out, let's see what this one is, how to tease card and spin wool, or going back to the whole physician thing, how to cure people with leeches and maggots. All right, so that's good. And also, because of the whole historical thing, I have a book on world history. This has been really helpful, especially like when I've had characters who were interested in history, or if I just wanted to look up historical events that took place during the time period in which I am writing. Likewise, I have a book on London. This is a current book about London for tourists, but it's really, really cool because it shows, for example, like little areas here, so you can really see what the different areas of London look like. And since this is the place where most of my books are set, it's pretty helpful. And then there's my book on castles, because I just love having my heroes and heroines living in beautiful castles. Let's find one that's not a ruin. A lot of them are, because, they've been around for a long time, so yeah. But they're really great to use for reference. So here's one, for example. It's more of maybe a manor house or mansion more than a castle as such. This is not bad. All right, so, it's just really good to have things that you can look up on hand right next to you as you're writing. Number 3 is other people. Reaching out to experts in a certain field that you're trying to write about is a really great way of finding out more about a certain profession. Let's say you're writing about firefighters, then go to the fire station and see if they'll let you take a tour. Talk to the firefighters there and learn about what their job entails and what kind of equipment do they use and what are their fire trucks like. Just find out as much information as you possibly can, and this way you'll be able to create more in-depth characters. When I was writing my third Diamonds in the Rough stories, The Illegitimate Duke, my hero was a surgeon, and he was a surgeon during the Regency period. So I ended up reaching out to the Royal College of Surgeons in London, and they were super helpful and provided me with some really great information on how people were educated and became surgeons during the early 19th century. Number 4 is maps. I use maps a lot when I'm writing. I use maps of England and I use maps of London. Now, especially when it comes to London, because my stories are set in the past, in the early 19th century, the current maps of London that you find on Google Maps have nothing to do with what London looked like during the Regency period. So for this reason, I've gone on the internet, I've done some Googling, I've done some research, and eventually I went on Amazon and I ended up buying this Jane Austen map of London. And this has been extremely helpful. It's huge, it's really big, as you can see. Like, oh, I'm trying to fold it out here. Oh gosh, it's not even all the way out. Okay, so yeah, that, hold on a sec. And then, like you can see here, I've added some little tiny post-it notes to mark off the areas. Gerrard Street and Swallow Street, I was using those streets as, places where some of my characters were living in one of my last novels that I was working on, so that's why they're marked on there. So yeah, grab a map and take a look, and it just gives you a better idea of where your characters are living, working, and so on and so forth. So last but not least is get a whiteboard. You can see mine is right up here, and I use this to write down all the major characters in my story, who they are, their age, just really basic ideas, just so I have them for reference on standby. So it's, when I'm writing, I have my laptop here and my whiteboard is right above it. So just at a quick glance, I can see who my characters are, how they relate to each other, their ages, things that I might forget during the course of writing the story, especially if it's pertaining to secondary characters who aren't used as often as the hero and heroine. So this just makes everything so much easier when I'm writing. So that's it. If this was helpful to you, please make sure that you like this video. If you have other ideas that I have not mentioned, please jot them in the comments below. And until next time, take care and thank you so much for watching. Bye!